Hello, I'm Billie. On Fridays, I meet with a group of women, some of whom are newer knitters, and one of them was seeking some help in choosing a pattern. She had a pretty good idea of what she wanted, but wasn't familiar enough with Ravelry to go about searching for it. So I offered to help her, and I'm going to replicate some of what we went through. So Elaine, this one is at your request. I hope other people will find it helpful as well. So Elaine saw someone wearing a shawl that she thought was very interesting, but it wasn't exactly what she was looking for. She knew she wanted something in lace because she would like to try a lace project. So that's the first constraint. She didn't want something with a lot of colors. And because she wasn't sure she was going to like it, she thought that she shouldn't pay a lot of money for it. So she was looking for something that's free. Now, there are many, many facets to Ravelry. If you've used Ravelry at all, you'll know that you can keep your stash inventory on there. You can search for yarns, you can search for patterns, you can connect with other people and send messages back and forth to them. There are special interest forums, groups. There's many, many facets. Today, because it's a little bit out of my wheelhouse to do this, I'm usually showing you my knitting, but today I'm going to focus specifically on how I went about helping her to find a selection of patterns that would be suitable for her to choose from. So let me get to my Ravelry and share my screen with you. When you first arrive at Ravelry.com, this is more or less what you're going to see. The image here changes roughly from month to month when the people at Ravelry write some special interest story. But basically, this is where you would begin to search. So let me just point out to you, across the top, you have these tabs: patterns, yarns, community, support, and advanced search. We're looking for a pattern, so I'm going to select this. Okay, we don't know the name of the pattern we're looking for. We don't know the designer. We don't really know anything. All we can say is that we want a shawl. We want it to be lace. Let's start with that. Okay, 54,000 matches. That means there are 54,000 patterns here that Elaine could choose from. But over here, you have a possibility of filtering your search. So notice I'm on my scroll bar on the right of my screen. So I'm not just scrolling through the patterns, but this section under filter your search is also scrolling down. So the first thing I would look for is the craft. She doesn't want crochet. She wants knitting, not machine knitting, not loom knitting, but just knitting. We could also select for gender. She doesn't want a masculine scarf. She wants or shawl rather, she wants a female one. So that narrows it down. Now you can see we've narrowed it down to 15,000 and change. In the category, we want accessories. Let me scroll down again. This is for the neck or the torso. And now we have even more options. She wants a shawl. Well, we're narrowing it gradually. Now there's 12,790. She wants one that's free. That's going to reduce the field significantly. Now you can see there's only 1,629 only. It's still a lot. Does it have a photo? Yes, I would like to see what it is. So I'm going to select, yeah, I want it to have a photo. And she's interested in knitting in fingering weight. This narrows it significantly. We're down from over 50,000 to 408. Actually, this one right here looks like what she's looking for. So I want to remember this one to tell her. So when we started to look at these, things like this did not appeal because they're a little too fussy for her. She considers herself kind of a plain, more tailored person. So whenever we saw things like that, we just passed them by. Now I'm going to arrow back to get back to the complete list. We did start to look from the top of the page, and she was totally surprised because she had looked on YouTube and found other tutorials, but they didn't get into this level somehow. So maybe this one would be appealing. We click on it and we give it a look. You can enlarge the photo. So all of these thumbnails will bring up a larger photo. In fact, you can zoom in even more. I think that's as far as you can go. And you can keep going down these pictures to see. If you think you like it and you want to hold on to it, you can save it to your favorites. So for the purposes of this conversation, I'm going to save it in my favorites. And I'm going to call this Eileen so that I'll be able to go back and grab it later on and remove it. I could also create a bundle, and that's probably a better thing to do. So let me add a new bundle, and I'm going to call this Eileen. Now this shawl is in that bundle. I'll come back to how to use the bundle, but first let's go back to the selection of hundreds of shawls. I could save the changes, although I think it might automatically save. Okay. Now we would continue down looking. Most of these are too fussy. She likes things that are kind of geometric. So this one might have some appeal. So I want to have a deeper look into this. Okay, interesting. Now, another thing that I showed her that you could do is you could see who has knit this and what theirs looked like. So where it says projects 359 other Ravelers have knit this project. 20 people have commented on it. Sometimes that's a good place to look. If you're not familiar with the designer and you want to see the caliber of that designer, are people complaining that they didn't understand the instructions or there were errors? There might be something in the comments alluding to that. Here they give the actual web address for the pattern. None of the links for the patterns seem to work. You might want to know that. This person says she's knitting her whole life. What's a closed increase? Well, if you don't know what a closed increase is, you might have trouble knitting the pattern. Therefore, this might be a pattern that a newbie knitter might want to stay away from. And then other people commented the decrease you're referring to is actually a double decrease. The knit two together, pass slip stitch over would be the correct stitch. So there's sometimes, what I'm trying to say, sometimes there's useful information here. So if you're unsure of a pattern, it's helpful to look in here. People also posted on various forums about this. So you can take a look in there too. Anyway, going back to the others who have knit this project, here's an array. There's 10 pages of images of how other people have knit it. Okay, we're going to eliminate this from Eileen's search because she doesn't want a triangle. She does not want a triangular shaped shawl. I don't believe there's a filter for filtering those out, but we're down to a more manageable amount, so not an issue. But now let's go back to that original page with the many, many thumbnails, and let's keep going down. Is this geometric squared away shawl? Interesting, kind of. She might really like this one. It's got the shape that she wants. 58 people have knitted, because sometimes you can see a color that you like, or you might see that somebody modified it in some way, made it narrower, made it wider. Here's a person who did it in a variegated yarn. That gives you an idea of how that would look. So there's a wealth of information here if you want to dig deeper into it. I think she would really like this one, and it doesn't look so difficult. It looks like it's just maybe knits and pearls. I'm looking for somebody who's got project notes. Okay, this person only has 3 photos, but she does have notes here. So let's click on more and see what she says. Well, first of all, you know her needle size, you know her gauge, you know the yarn that she used, Mirasol yarn Solca Legato, which, by the way, if you click on that yarn, you'll find out all about the yarn and where you can purchase it. Buy this yarn online, Hot Springs Fiber. That's another rabbit hole to fall down. See all buying options. So in the United States, it looks like it's just Hot Springs Fiber Company. But then there's also this knit over here. I'm not sure why they're not in this list. But then you can click on the link and go to that company straight away and order the yarn if you really love something about that yarn. And by the way, when you're in the yarn, you can see how many people have that in their stash and how many projects have been knit with it, and also comments about it. But we veered off course a little bit. I wanted to get to her notes. She started the scarf recently, found she had an extra row. Very easy pattern to follow, is coming together very quickly. Good to know. And it's not just knits and pearls. This does have some yarn overs. That's how you're getting these holes. But all in all, a very simple pattern. And I think Eileen might really like this one. So I'm going to, once again, save it into my favorites. And I'm going to scroll down until I find the Eileen bundle. Here it is. And I'm going to put it into that bundle. And I will save it. And now I'm going to return to the general list. And keep looking. A lot of these are triangular. She might like lacy stripes. Let's see how that one is. I think that seems more of a scarf than a shawl. But it is rectangular. I don't know if she already has a yarn in mind, but if she did and she knew that she only had one skein of fingering and it was 400 something yards, she would know straight away that she wouldn't be able to knit this, because this person took 780 yards. And she says it's really a stole that can be worn as a scarf depending on the weather. Very easy lace pattern, 6-stitch 4-row repeat, knitted in one piece from the short edge. Perfect for a first lace project. So that could be very interesting. Let's save this for Eileen also. So I go back to my bundles, scroll down, find Eileen, select that, and then save it. Now, just for the fun of it, let me show you where I can find my bundles and my favorites that I've saved. So over here, I go into my notebook. See that tab, my notebook? There's a drop-down menu. Scroll down this menu until you get to favorites. Select that. I have 20 bundles right here. So if I click on this, it's going to display my 20 bundles. Let me search for the bundle that's Eileen. Here it is. If I click on that, these are the 3 things that I just saved to that folder. There's a way for me to share this if I want to send this to Eileen if she's on Ravelry, which I know she is. I just don't know her handle, but I could send this to her and then she'd see the things that I put aside for her. I'm going to arrow back to that main page again. And let's keep looking. So now I'm going on to page number 2 by clicking here. And again, I scroll down. I'm looking for something that's rectangular and somewhat geometric, not too frilly, not too fussy. Oh, there's so many that are so beautiful. There may be a way to narrow this even further. So I'm going to go back into the filters and scroll down. I think at the very bottom, there's a way to do a keyword search. Oh, there's also a way to select yardage. So let's see if she only had 425 yards, she could select that. It's going to narrow the field down. There's only 133 that meet all of her criteria. And this is what I wanted to show you. At the very bottom of all the filters, there's additional filters. The country of the designer's name, the gauge, all of that. But the one thing that I was looking for is keywords. So I'm going to select keywords. And I'm going to say rectangular. Now, not everybody who designed a rectangular shawl will necessarily use the word in their description, but let's see. Nothing. Okay, so I now have sort of bombed out. I now have too many constraints on this because it has to meet all of these criteria. So maybe if I take away female and the yardage and try that again with, these are all rectangular, aren't they? Yes, rectangular. So now I have 15 just by eliminating the yardage and male, female. And now it really is probably narrowed down to a group that she would really like. Possibly this one. So 840 yards. I don't know if she already has the yarn, but you see the word rectangular is right there. That's what made this pattern come up in the list. Also interesting to see that it has both written instructions and a chart. So suffice it to say, there's a lot of information, a wealth of information in here for you. 76 people have knit this. Here they are. And everybody's photos are different. So you get to see. Plus, some people, this person put 17 photos and a whole story. So you can just look at the photos by clicking here. But if you click on more, you'll see everything that this knitter put about this pattern. Her measurements were 19 inches by 76 inches, blocked and dried. Her needle size, her gauge, the yarn she used, Knit Picks, Preciosa tonal fingering. She said she's casting on 96 stitches, an extra set of a 15-stitch repeat. The yarn responds to this pattern stitch so nicely. She tried another fingering at first, hated the look of the stitches, hated. It's also interesting to know she switched to a different yarn and then loved it. It's extreme widest and longest possibility. She was able to stretch it to 21 by 82. She doesn't know that it will stay that size. She's going to let it dry for 2 days. And she says she was right. It's dry and unpinned, and it sprung back a little bit to its measurement, 19 by 76. And here's more of her pictures. This is how it looked unblocked. Also interesting to know, because it's going to look very different after it's blocked. If you've never knit lace, you may not know that lace really lends itself to blocking because it opens up the motif. So I hope that's all helpful to you. There's so much information in Ravelry. Really, this is just the tip of the iceberg. I hope you gleaned something from seeing all of this. Let me know in the comments if there's anything else that you want me to walk you through. It's not that I'm a master of Ravelry, but I do use it and I find it very helpful. I hope you do as well. Thanks for being with me. Look forward to hearing your comments and questions. Bye for now.